Hello, my dearest. Daniela here, and welcome to another episode of the Spa Marketing Made Easy podcast. One of the things that's been coming up a lot in conversation over in our Growth Factor group is franchising. How do you franchise your business? What is the process? Really just all the questions around this particular business model. Well, I was able to connect with Joe, who is the founder of VIO Med Spa, a franchise that is doing incredibly well and one that I'm sure many of you will see popping up in your area in the next year or two. Now, his openness to sharing the real story of what it takes to build a business of this size, and also some of the mistakes that he made along the way that ultimately turned into great lessons, as they always do. It was just really eye-opening for me. He has an openness and a candidness that I really appreciated for an episode like this. So I hope that you enjoy, and let's go ahead and play that episode. All right, Joe, welcome to the Spa Marketing Made Easy podcast. I'm really looking forward to this conversation. I'm not sure where it's going to go, but I know it's going to be a lot of great information. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be on the show, so I appreciate it.
Okay, so take our listeners back as far as you want to take them. How'd you get into the spa industry before you turned into a franchise? Like, what was that path like, and what was your experience like?
Yeah, I think it's actually important to go all the way back to right after college, right?
Okay.
So right after college, I worked for Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield. I was in group sales, and from there, I got transferred to Toledo, and I would always take my clothes to Toledo, Ohio, and I was always taking my clothes to a dry cleaner, and everything was one price. So I'm like, okay, my brain's going and going and going. My running numbers, I'm like, I'm opening a dry cleaner. I'm leaving the corporate job. I'm starting a dry cleaner. And I start looking up all these things about how to open a dry cleaner, yada, yada, yada. And I slowly started putting the pieces together, found a spot. The build out took 6 months longer than it should have. And as we all know,
like most build outs,
putting 6 months behind is a lot of money. And then I had 3 months of TI. So I was really behind schedule. Going from there, the guy that I bought my equipment from, he ran a number on me and he committed fraud, but I couldn't go after him because he was in the state of Florida. That's a different story. But it made me work harder in the end of the day. So I ended up buying more equipment little by little, and I finally put together a functioning dry cleaner. But for 5 years, I could not take a paycheck because all the money I had, I was using for the original equipment that I got, kind of scammed out of. So I had to replace that equipment. I bought new equipment, and I built that company up. And in 5 years, I was like, okay, this is running. I sold it. Then I wanted to get into a different industry when I was working in that dry cleaner, I was getting there at 4 o'clock to turn the boilers on, and I would not leave till 9 o'clock at night. So, I was just work. And I'm like, I need to find something that's not as labor intensive, but I need something that I need to work smarter, but not harder. So Then I got into the tanning salon business. I opened a few tanning salons, and fast forward from there, I was approached by one of my customers to open a laser spa, laser hair removal. So we opened I didn't want to,
did he or she come to you and say, hey, you'd be great at this, you're good at, like, I love what you're doing here, or what?
She worked at another place, and she's like, they're doing great numbers there. You would be great at this. We need to partner. Can you have the capital? Can we do this? I said, yeah, let's do it. Without thinking, I'm like, yeah, let's do it. But let me look into it a little bit, yada, yada, yada. And so I called a friend of mine who's doing laser, sold lasers for a while. And his name is Matt Burlport. He's in this industry. And I said, Matt, tell me a little bit about these lasers. Will I do good at this? Is there money to be made? Yada, yada, yada. Mm-hmm. So he's like, Joe, you'll kill it. Enough said, done. Bought the lasers, and then the next step was getting the construction done. I didn't want to take another lease out on another building because, one, it would take too long to get going, and I already knew that. Two, I didn't want to take the extra risk because that would have been just more money, right? And if it failed, then I would be tied to that lease. So I put it in the back of my tanning salon. I called some contractors that I knew, and they worked, and I knew the landlord. So we worked overnight to get this whole thing done. Do I recommend that? No, not at all. But I did what I had to do, and I got it done. So we worked out about 800 square feet or so, and we scaled it from there. One thing led to the next. We started doing Botox, fillers. We grew to be one of the fastest, or the largest Botox provider in Cleveland within like 5 to 6 months. And from there, we scaled to another location. And about a year after that, we grew out of that location, had it moved to where my current corporate location is today, my first flagship store. And that was called Skin Deep Med Spa. Fast forward 3 years from there, I was approached by some guys from Apex Franchise Development Group to franchise my company.
Mm-hmm.
So the first step is we had to recreate the name, because the name we had to own the trademark to. And we searched for months, could not find a name. And it was one of the hardest things of everything we did. That was one of the hardest things, honestly. I know this sounds
finding
ridiculous.
A name that you could actually trademark.
Yeah, finding a name we could trademark and was catchy, that, could be a national brand also.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So we threw up all these names on a whiteboard, couldn't think of anything. Nailed it down to 3. I still hated them. This is actually a funny story. So I was I had a week to decide, because we have what's called our franchise disclosure documents. And those were due. We had to get those all ready within the next 2 months. We had, an open house coming up. We had to get all these documents done. So I'm at a restaurant in Cleveland. I'm drinking bone broth. And on the lid, it said Viora. And I'm like, VIO Med Spa. I love it. Let's go with that. I called everyone. I'm like, hey, what do you guys think about this? They're like, well, what about the other name? Like, forget those names. Scratch those. We're using this. Do you like it? Yes or no? They loved it. We went with it. And now it's a household name. So, well, I like to think so. But
I want to back up a little bit, and I want to understand a little bit more in depth, because the people that are listening here are spa owners themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so when you first, you grew, you scale, you clearly have a knack for marketing, right? Yep. So, so I want to know a little bit more about some of the types of things. You said you were doing open houses. You told me that you're not a lover of spreadsheets, and in fact that you hate them. But
I think so. Me and my brother, my brother's my best friend, my business partner. But Nick is very risk adverse. I'm the risk taker. I'll risk everything. And my take is, I've done it once, I've done it twice, I've done it 3 times. I'll do it again. I'm not afraid to take a risk. Does it suck taking the risk? Yeah, it does. But hey, I'm not afraid of it. But Nick is calculated. Everyone in the office is calculated. Me, I'm the visionary. I just think about things and I say, hey guys, we need to do this. Let's roll with it. Then they take those things, put them in the spreadsheets, and run all the numbers. Me,
has that always been your personality though? Because I feel like that's a really beautiful self-awareness and really like security in yourself. Honestly, if you're like, hey, I can fail because I know I can do this again. And it's really not every time you quote unquote fail, you're learning something different, learning something new too.
100%. Those are the best lessons in life. I mean, I would never take back, I'm getting chills about it right now, thinking about this, but I would never take back those experiences and all the losses. And, I had shingles, going with all the stress and everything, but I would never take that back for anything to achieve what I've achieved today, because those are lessons that they're invaluable. And, I wanted to say something else, but you want to talk about the marketing and everything else. Where do you want to go with this next?
Well, I mean, the marketing is good. You seem like kind of an extroverted social guy.
Oh, yeah, I'm all over the place. So
okay. So, a lot of times with our students, I'm saying, I want you to be out there being the mayor of your town. I want you to get involved in your community. I want you to anywhere and everywhere. That's what the CEO does. And you need a spa manager to handle daily operations. Right. So would you agree with that?
100%. Real quick, I want to mention before.
Yeah.
The other thing that's important in our organization, you have to be able to step back, realize what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are.
Mm-hmm.
If there's someone that's better at running something, let them run it. You do what's you're best at. If you're better at marketing, but you're the owner of the company, just do the marketing. Hire someone to do the other administrative things and things like that, because you're going to lose too much time and you're going to get stressed out focusing on the little things when you need to focus on getting that business to run. Focus on the business and how to run the business, or, get it going, the marketing and those things. That's what's important. So, when you speak about making mayor your town, I mean, literally everyone in the city knows me. I'm not trying to boast for myself, but they call me Mayor Clint.
I believe it.
I literally everywhere. But when I started, and me and my brother butt heads about this all the time, and because I would give syringes to everybody. I mean, you want a syringe? You want lips? Okay, yeah, here, let's go. Because all I ask is post about it. I wouldn't shove it down their throats. I wouldn't say, hey, you have to bring me 4 people. I wouldn't do this. Let the results show for themselves, right? So I would be out, at this one restaurant called Town Hall. I would be out. Hey, you have you ever been got your lips done? Oh, here. I'll just go in there. Say, I'm going to take care of your lips. I got your lips. Why? Because if you're not shoving it down their throats, then they're more obliged to just do it for you. You know what I mean? Same thing with facials. Facials are so cheap. Give facials to people. Your reps will give you things. Don't be afraid to give things away. Don't worry about the cost value. That's not important.
I see a lot of people really focusing on payroll. Payroll is important and cost value and all of that. But I'm like, look at it as your advertising cost. If you can spend, X amount per lead to get someone on your email list, or you can spend the $7 that it costs you to do a facial plus payroll, and you have an hour to convert that person. And really looking at lifetime customer value over that one specific occurrence.
Yeah. And a lot of people, they get these micro-influencers. These micro-influencers are just people, are like spa hoppers. Those are not your people you want to get, right? I'm going to be honest. I've been through it. The people you want to get are your regular people. Make them feel special. You know what I mean? Just make them feel like there's something. They're like, oh my God, I don't even really know you that well, but you're going to that's great. They are going to tell everybody. They're going to tell everybody. And that's free syringe you got from your rep. That's going to cost you nothing. You'll probably get 5 to 10 people from that. Same thing with the facial. You give them a free facial that costs you what, $50 on a hydrofacial, your end up cost? That's nothing. Give them the facial. It's going to pay out dividends beyond belief. I'm a firm believer in that.
Talk to me. I love that. Talk to me about where your company was at when you were approached to franchise. Were you already in 7 figures? Did you have any type of membership going? Did you have systems in place? Like, what were the key things that they were highlighting about you that said, hey, this is a company that we want to franchise? Yeah.
So the guys they knew the beauty space, and they knew it was a very profitable industry, right? They didn't know what it was going to turn into. It's one of the most profitable industries out there today, right? One had a Massage Envy background, European Wax Center. I mean, all different backgrounds, right? They knew this industry very well, the beauty industry, if you will. We were in 7 figures, yes, already. We did have a membership plan, but we tweaked it. Actually, we almost completely tweaked it, 100%. And we actually built it around the hydrofacial, ironically. And that machine is unbelievable. If I have to give a shout out to anybody, hydrofacial, awesome machine. But membership plan is key. If you want to scale and we keep people coming back, you need a membership plan, in my opinion. I'm not trying to force that down anybody, but if you want to be successful, because you're going to get constant, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You reinvent your marketing. That is the best way to do something. Figure out a membership that works for you, and you have to run all the numbers. You really have to sit down, look what your cost is on everything, and also take consideration that you're not marketing for a new customer. So once you have that customer and they're coming back every month, you can lower your profitability a little bit, because it's going to end up making more, right? People can figure all that out. I'll leave that to them.
Yeah, no, one of the big things that we're focused on is creating an asset that you can sell, whether you're going to sell it or not. You want to be able to have something, and that means recurring revenue, that means systems, that means understanding your margins and all of that type of stuff. So I was just curious how much of that you already had in place. And it sounds like a lot.
Yeah, there was a lot of it. Over the years, we've we've realized, trends and things like that. We've taken some things out. We're not focusing on some things more than others, and we've added other things. We weren't never going to add lasers. That was never, now we're adding facial lasers because that's what people want. Body sculpting, we were actually going to make a body sculpting membership, but over the years we realized body sculpting is kind of taking a back seat. So we're not really focused on that as much as creating a membership for that. But yeah, speaking to the membership, it's constant revenue. You can guarantee that money coming in every month. So,
yeah. All right. So talk to me about a little bit more about that process of transitioning into a franchise. Did you have to open a separate entity? What kind of restructuring had to be done? What was the kind of the pain factor of going through?
There was a lot of pain. There was a lot of pain. So I don't know where to begin. So when you start a franchise, you need all these different documents. Franchise disclosure documents. You have to be open for a full year under that new entity's name. So when we were discussing the name before, for example, that was in November. We had to have a name all set, all the paperwork done, and the trademark done by January 1st, so we could be under a full year under that new entity, and then have those numbers would then go into the documents, and then we could start selling franchises, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that took time. Then we had to, creating the way everything looks. Every one of the spas look the same. We had to create the new model. We had to create the training manuals. We had to create. There's a lot of things that go into it that people don't really. The compliance took us about 3 years. We had to learn every single state and the compliance for every single state. And one thing we could pride ourselves on, I would have to say that we have the best compliance team, the best compliance system on the market. I mean, we really do. We spend a lot of time.
I mean, the laws are changing every single year too. So that's, I mean,
we have to on that all the time. So it's important. Compliance is huge. That is right up there with one of the most important things that your practice should be looking at. So
when you are, when you're selling a franchise, talk to me about what type. I think most people know that, like, you're buying the name of the business, you're buying the look and feel and the brand and all of that and the training manuals. Are you also buying your hiring and onboarding process and payroll structure and like literally every single thing? It's plug and play. You just have to open it up and operate the business.
Yeah. So one thing that everybody thinks they can open a med spa. First off, we have to look for the right person. You really do, because you don't want a bad egg, in the system. That you need someone that's going to follow the ways that you tell them what to do, listen to what you say, and someone that's going to be a grinder. You really need someone that's going to be a grinder, because this industry is not easy. You have med spas opening up all over, and you need someone that's going to understand that you need to do that guerrilla marketing. You need to be the mayor of the town, like we talked about before. You need all those things. And it's not just you open the spa just because we have a name and people are going to come. You still have to do that. You still have to grind, and you still have to do those things. But when you do open, yes, it is, you turn the key. The spa is built out. We do help you out with finding a location, A locations. We know B, C, D, E locations. We want prime real estate. So that does take a little bit of time. That was a learning curve that we had to look at, when we were scaling. We wanted to be in the best property. So we gave these people X amount of time to find a location, but sometimes that takes a little bit longer than expected. So we had to, change some things around for that. We have a team that helps with the onboarding, getting everyone, every week follow-ups, where they are with construction, where you are with hiring, marketing. When did you start selling? Are you selling pre-sales for market or for memberships yet? All that is taken care of. So when we sell a franchise, you can buy either an individual location or you can buy what's called an area rep. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
An area rep, let's call Northeast Ohio for, and I'm not using exact numbers here. I'm just using it for example. When you buy an area rep, you buy like call it 10 locations. You have X amount of time, like call it 4 or 5 years to develop those locations. And then you also get a piece of that revenue of the royalties that come back to you. So, and then you can open a single location and you're responsible for just that location then. So,
who is your ideal person that you're looking for to open up a franchise for VIO Med Spa?
someone that's going to be an owner operator. Unless you're going to put a lot of money in it, and then you're going to have a partner that's going to be the operator, you need someone there all the time. This is not someone where you buy it and you give it to someone just to run, anybody just to run, or your managers to run. You need a whole systems operation. This is not your Taco Bell or your Massage Envy or your European Wax Center or your Planet. And no disrespect to any of those brands, they're all great brands, but this is much more sophisticated. You have your doctor, overseeing physician. You have nurse practitioners, nurses, estheticians. There's a lot more moving parts, and then you have the laws that are involved. There's a lot of things, and this is not something to take lightly. So you need to be fully engaged in this and put everything you have into this, as far as your focus as well.
What is the exit strategy for someone that does purchase a franchise and say they do this area location? They've got 10 locations and now they're coming up on, they're 50, they want to retire. Do they sell those back to you? Can they sell them to somebody else? What does it look like?
Well, we haven't hit that point yet, but I mean, this industry is, always being approached by private equity,
Right.
And private equity is paying great multiples on this. So, and I've seen it happen in other different models, such as European Wax Center, Massage Envy, where let's say like an area rep, they'll come in, they have 10 locations, a private equity firm would come in, pay a multiple on that, and they would exit. And then that private equity firm would then acquire that and run it like their own.
I see. Interesting.
The multiples, though, in this industry, I don't know them offhand, but you can get, if you're running multiple locations, you can get between 8 to 10 times multiple. So, or if it's over $1 million per location in EBITDA.
That's great. Yeah. How many locations do you have now, or about like how fast were you able to grow from time to franchise to finding the franchisees? That process, was it faster? Was it slower than you expected? Were there any
bumps in the road?
Yeah. Like I'm sure there were, but
so right when we were kicking off our sales process, we were just about to engage in that. What happened? COVID. So
oh
COVID
my gosh.
literally as we were launching our sales process, COVID hit. We had sold a couple, but our true sales process, we were just getting ready to launch during that time. And a lot of people were, scaled back. I want to hold off a little bit because I want to see how things are going to play out. I knew I had this conversation. I was getting messages 8 to 10 times a day. Can I just, I won't say anything. Can you just get us in? Can we get it? People were trying to get injections. Why were people trying to get injections? I knew this industry was going to blow up. Why? Because people were on Zoom, and what were they doing all day? They were looking at themselves, and they saw imperfections, and they wanted to improve how they looked, right? And that, I knew that was going to skyrocket everything right after COVID. And was I right? Yes. I got a call. I saw my crystal ball, and it took off. We were getting calls left and right for people wanting to come in for Discovery Day. That's when people come in, they learn about the brand, and then we decide if we want to bring them on as a franchisee and so on and so forth. Today we have, I believe, 37 open. By the end of next year, we should have roughly 70 open. So we'll double in size.
Congratulations.
And we have over 200 locations sold.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So in 5 years, 5.5 years. So it's pretty.
How does that make you feel?
Oh, it's smile ear to ear. I went through a lot, growing the businesses, not paying myself for, like I said, 5 years. when I had the dry cleaner, dealing with partners along the way that didn't pan out, that made things a lot more difficult than they should have. Like I mentioned, I had shingles at one point. But it all pays off. Like, not looking forward now and how much we've grown, it makes you, that feeling inside, it makes you like, okay, it was
just really proud of like,
yeah.
And especially that you get to do this with your brother, which is
So like my brother right now works at EY, and he's part-time with VIO. When I say part-time, like Nick works 60 hours at EY and he'll still put 30 hours, 40 hours in at VIO. You know what I mean? The kid is one of the hardest workers I've ever met in my life. I mean, he is a grinder. That kid can work, and he's brilliant. I mean, he's working on a back-end system for us because he taught himself coding, and he knows how to code. It's wild. So he's gonna be coming on board. So it's cool that Nick's been with the big four, with any one of the big fours at any given time for accounting since college, and he's always been wanting to make that transition into being an entrepreneur, if you will, a business owner, but he could just never take that stuff because he's a family, right? It's a lot to risk. So he's coming on, I believe, in the beginning of the year at some point, January, February. He's just trying to make that transition with work, make it easy for them. Doesn't want to burn any bridges. So, but it's exciting working side by side with him, and and everyone in my company, though. I'm not gonna lie, it's like a family. There's no animosity with anybody. We're one big family. My CEO is my real good friend. My franchise, Ryan, who's my franchise development officer, chief of staff. We're all good friends. Everyone's a good friend. We all have a lot of fun together.
Same in my company.
It's great to see everyone being successful. That feeling alone is great. Seeing everyone with smiling faces all the time. All my franchisees are awesome. We had our first conference this year, and we had 200 people there, and it was electrifying. I was on the stage, and I just looked out into the audience, and I just could not believe they're like, this all started from the back of a tanning salon. I mean, that was like that killed me. I mean, I'm like choking up here now, and it was a real moment that I never thought would happen, and it was so fulfilling. So
for our listeners right now that are considering either opening a franchise themselves, or I feel like we're going to have two different groups of people. So there's going to be providers that are really focused on wanting to open their own business, but they don't want to go through all of the building pieces that you need to kind of figure out your systems and all of that. So for that individual, and for the other individual who is saying, hey, I want to create my own franchise. I want to get into, I want to franchise my company. I've done really well. That's kind of the next step, the next vision for me. What are the two bits of advice you would give for those two avatars?
So the person that wants to open a med spa, okay, and they're trying to decide whether they want to go to a franchise or if they want to start their own. The problem is this: when you start your own, there's a huge learning curve, right? So not only are you completely green to the space, you don't know where exactly to put your location. I've seen people put them right next to like C and D locations, and they're just not comforting spots. If you're going to do this, you have to go all in. You have to make the place when you walk in, it's a spa experience, right? And I'm not talking about like a massage place. When you walk in our location, they're beautiful. They are truly beautiful. I don't know if you've seen pictures of our inside of our locations, but they're beautiful. Chandelier. Everything.
It was funny. So I saw your post on LinkedIn. That's how I connected with you. And then I went to the Naval Academy game, and we went to get barbecue right before at Mission Barbecue, which is a big spot there. And the location was right there. And I was like, wait, I know that spa. Like, that's just the guy I was talking to on LinkedIn.
Yeah. That's why I was just at that location about 2 months ago. Yeah, that's a great location.
Mm-hmm.
But it's big. It's a big location. But
they're modern. They're clean.
They're clean. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
You have the water. You have the cat. Everything looks beautiful in there. But getting back to that, so when you open, you don't know what your service blend is, your service menu is going to be. And what happens is, and this is no disrespect to any of the reps, what happens is these reps will come in and they'll sell you a bag of goods. Well, if you buy this laser, you'll make this much, and you'll do this, and this, and this. They're just trying to get a sale. I don't mean any disrespect, but when you buy that laser, you not only do you have to factor in who's going to run that laser, how are you going to market for that laser,
Warranties.
you have time, the room. There's a lot more that goes in. And I've realized that because I probably have $1 million in expensive paperweights over the years that I bought things and I use them for a few months and I'm like, God, this is not working. I mean, the results are not that great. We're at the point now where you shift, and when you go with a franchise, we have the ability to test those machines, see the profitability. Is it going to work? How are we going to market this? And we get those machines for free to test for 4 to 6 months. So we can truly see if that is going to be a fit for our model. And we also have the option, you can buy this machine or you don't have to. There's different packages we have and for that area that you're in. So that's a huge benefit. Plus you're getting the buying power. Are you paying a royalty? Yes, but you're also getting the buying power. And what you're going to save on syringes and things, so on and so forth. So that's another benefit. And you're also going to get the coaching on how to be successful in opening a med spa. So when you open a business, it's scary as it is without not knowing anything. And you're opening a med spa and you don't know anything. You don't know what licenses you need. You don't know who to hire, a medical director, all these things.
Well, and it sounds also like you have a built-in community with these 200 business owners that are all running the same business, the same brand, essentially. Right. And you have this conference and, I think community is essential as well.
Absolutely. And, we learn a lot from our franchisees. There's things that I didn't do, but they're doing and they're killing it. So, my brother and I, on top of being the franchisors, well, in with our team as well, but on top of that, we own one location here in Cleveland, Ohio. And then we also are opening 2 in Charlotte on top of it. Why? Because it's a good business model. I'm investing in my own company because I know it's a great business model. And I know we'll do fantastic with it. It's about putting the right people in play to be successful. And that's what we teach our franchisees to do, but they have to listen. So it's when you think about it, people are like, well, yeah, I can open a med spa, but it's a lot cheaper. We put every dollar into make you successful. So people are like, well, I can do it for $700,000 or $600,000. Yeah, you probably can, but you're going to spend a lot more on that learning curve, and you're going to spend a lot more on this and this and this and this over the years, and you're going to pay more syringes. So you have to pay a royalty, but it all balances out, and you'll get the profitability a lot quicker. So why would you not take the faster route, without the learning curve and lower your risk of being not successful? Now we go to the side of owning or starting your own franchise, right? It's a difficult process. It's gonna, you have to first off find out if your name is trademarked. If it isn't, then you have to change the name, and you have to work under a full year of, like I mentioned before, under that name to then create franchise disclosure documents. Then you have to go through all the compliance state by state and offer all, show all those things, the manuals. So it's going to cost you roughly about $250,000 to $300,000 to start doing that, just to get all the legal work done.
And then you have to make your sales.
And then you have to make the sales. Yeah. So to buy into our franchise, it's $50,000 for the franchise fee. Okay. Now, after that, it's 6% of royalties. So you have to figure out what your structure is going to be and how you're going to do that. If you're going to hire someone to sell your franchises, so we do that internally. To this day, we have not spent $1 on acquiring any of our franchisees, which is pretty impressive. Most franchises, they have a broker dealer, and they're the ones they're paying the franchisor is paying a commission to these people to bring the franchises to them. We're not doing that. Everyone is coming to us organically because they heard about us in the marketplace and they want to invest in our company. So Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we gave everybody a lot to think about, a lot to process. I loved hearing your story and just kind of the real behind it. I know franchising and just this whole topic has been very popular as we are seeing private equity come in more and more and people wanting to purchase and all of those types of things because it hasn't really happened in this industry. And so there's a lot of potential growth. I think I read that the US, it's like $15 billion industry. We employ 70,000 people. It's predominantly run by women, which is, for us women, it's nice to be in an industry where we are, working with lots of other women. So it feels like there's a lot of opportunity and growth. It's just an interesting topic. So I really appreciate you sharing all of this with us behind the scenes, the real deal.
Absolutely. And also I don't know if you saw that, I saw the same statistic and I believe it's supposed to 5X by 2029.
Yeah.
So this industry is blowing up. And that's why private equity is so interested in it. So if they're interested in it, what does that tell you?
Right.
It's a great industry to get into. And it's a fun industry to get into. The aesthetic shows, they're a great time to learn and talk to people. And if you ever see, I'm just throwing my name out there, but if you ever see me at the aesthetic show, come out to me, talk to me. I'm happy to talk to anybody about anything, whether you're a franchisee of mine or not. I love this. I'm so passionate about this industry. You can message me on LinkedIn, do whatever you want. I love talking about it. I'll talk to anybody about it. So happy to help.
So is that the best place if people want to find you, follow you, or learn more about your company? LinkedIn?
Yeah, LinkedIn. Yeah, our company page is on there, but my personal page is on there. Just look for me, Joe Stanoszek, and I'm happy. Just message me and say you heard me on the podcast. You want to set up a phone call? I'm happy to guide you, talk you through things. I'm always here.
I love that. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys so much for listening, and be sure to check out Joe, and we'll catch you on the next episode.